Hey, good evening, everyone, and welcome to our Monday Night Live, Monday evening. And we trust that you had a wonderful week in the past. I want to encourage you to please share the invitation link with your church members, your groups, your colleagues, and really get folks to come and join the sessions. They're quite valuable, and I know individuals from different time zones listening and watching the recordings. So we want to thank all of you who are doing that and share end of the but for those of us, it doesn't clash with any to join. We have it say only the host can share. Okay. Sister James, are you able with us? The share for the screen. Able to unmute yourself. See. All right. Okay, so good. Yeah. So this evening we are looking at week 4, and it's all about carbohydrates, talking about carbohydrates. I have a very interesting topic and story to share with you. So last week, we talked about healthy fats, and we did look at different types of fats and unsaturated fats, polyunsaturated. We talked about saturated and all the situations about them. And then we went away, and the goal and task was for us to really implement better choices when we're choosing our fat. And we particularly discussed oil and the use of oil in preparation. So ideally, we do not want to have the free use of oil in our cooking. So if you were to incorporate oil, sort of like to, grease a pan, or you do it, say you're baking an item and you put the oil in there. Maybe sometimes if you were to just put a little oil, like a teaspoon or a tablespoon in the base of your food preparation to heat up the garlic. Some folks like to do that. But depending on your condition too, you may not even be able to do that. And but the oil, so what I tell you is that oil do not grow on trees, but the vegetables would, the nuts would, where you would get the seed oils from, or peanut oil or grapeseed oil. You eat the grape, and you can get the grapeseed extract to do things. You can eat the corn as opposed to the corn oil. You can eat the olives as opposed to the olive oil, and so forth. You will get a fat content from the item. So that's what we would recommend. However, when you begin to when you begin to use a concentrated item, as in oil, there you can find problems taking place. And the individuals would have a task and challenge on their hand. So what happened is that I was literally having this conversation with folks at the center. We were in the kitchen just talking and about how to prepare foods in a healthier way, and showing and discussing the list of and varied items for seasoning the food. And then we got on to talking about oils. And when we talked about it, I told them, let's try and refrain from using the oil in the cooking. So we had lots of questions. And then I subsequently had a consultation. Okay, Sister James, I'll unmute you. Yeah, I had a consultation with someone, and the condition that the individual had, in preparing for the consult, I sort of primed my mind as to what the discussion would be and what I would be advising. And I'd say, okay, no oils and no cooking or eating the flesh foods and the dairy and so forth, because the condition can come from a high cholesterol level. And I was all prepared to talk about that. Lo and behold, the person said, but I don't eat flesh meat. I have not been doing that for quite a long time. And it's like, no animal products, no dairy, no, none. I said, okay. And then I asked the question, do you cook with oil? And the person said, no, I don't cook with oil, but I drizzle oil on my food. And I said, you gotta stop. You need to stop, because your condition here is a direct link to high cholesterol levels that can result in this. And you have high cholesterol levels in your blood, and you can have, it was gallstones, you can have these gallstones. High fat. So we were looking through the diet to see where the high fat was coming from. And it wasn't from an animal source. So when I shared that, I was like, wow, so, and we expect that a person would improve and do better. But just, that was really interesting to see that it is the high fat coming from the oils and the just drizzling it out to food. And that's a thing that a lot of folks would do. And they would tell me, that this is what they're doing, just putting it onto the food. And that's causing a problem. So just as we were talking about it, and then it was evidential in a subsequent conversation. So I just want you guys to be so mindful. And the research is loaded, and it talks about these different oils that they promote atherosclerosis, which is that calcium plaque deposits within the arteries. And therefore, it's a real fact, and we need to watch that, especially when you're managing heart disease or gallstones or, even another thing that I was looking through some research, and remember we talked about saturated fat connected with prostate cancer, colorectal cancer, and breast cancer. And then I started to think about our Caribbean men that are so prone to getting prostate cancer, and always you would look to see what the causes are. And a lot of our Caribbean folk love coconut. They love to eat coconut, as well as use coconut milk in their cooking, or even coconut oil. And we kind of like look at the trend, be it, from the coconut or any other form of saturated fat introduced into the diet, there is a connection with prostate enlargement, as well as prostate cancer. So just as a word of caution, when we think about prevention, let us think about making these adjustments to the diet. Okay, Sister James, I'm looking for you to ask you to, there you go. Go ahead.
Yes.
You're on mute. Yes.
Okay. I was saying that when I tried to share it, it said that only the host could share. I was going to share with my daughter.
Or the WhatsApp. That's strange.
And she's
Okay.
not in the WhatsApp group, so maybe that's why. Maybe it's encrypted end to end.
Yeah. Okay, I see you. So I'm gonna send it directly and see if that makes a difference.
Okay.
Um, yep.
Thank you so
All
much.
right. Thank you, and thank you for your support in being willing to share the info. All right. All right. So wonderful. And okay, sent it both. All right,
Thank
great.
you. I
There we
received it
go.
just now. Thanks.
Okay,
Thank
so
you.
all right, wonderful. Thank you. Okay, let's just get sharing. Okay.
Taking good care of your health is responsibility. To do a good job, it requires knowledge and practice. Join us for 8 weeks to wellness and become a healthier you. Each week, you will get new guidelines and wellness challenges. In the end, you will be on your way to living a healthful lifestyle and enjoying the benefits. So join us, Healthier Me. Taking good.
All right. Okay, so welcome to week 4. Calling you all the way from Trinidad, and we are here at the Pure Wellness Lifestyle Center. And news update over the last week on Sabbath. I went to church and did a presentation and then hustled back to the center to head out to our botanical gardens. So just showing a beautiful picture shot of God's nature and the greenery, and that was relaxing. If you have not done this in a while, I encourage you to get out there and out in nature and just spend some time. We spent like about 3 hours, and it was so beautiful. We rested. I actually slept under this tree, just laid out a spread there when I got and just took about an hour's rest. Yeah, and relaxing. And we saw a little, there were many squirrels to entertain and keep our attention. But this one was busy. He was busy. All right, so there we go. So Healthier Me, a step-by-step approach to improving my health in 8 weeks. We are on week 4 and speedily heading along. We just want to recognize that everyone may be on a different point in your journey to health. And you probably just hearing about this. Oh, by the way, do we have folks on the line who are here for the very first time? If you are indicate to us in the chat. Okay. All right, maybe no one today. All right, so folks, we got some work to come. All right, so you may yeah, if it is that you're on stage 1, you're not ready to live healthy, maybe you're young and life will catch up. But let's take on the prevention part. Maybe you're thinking about pursuing a healthy life, you're preparing to live healthier, or you're just about reaching your health goals, or you are journey. We are all in this some and points, and we will share with you at the end of our discussion with a new one that would incorporate our new goals for this week. So this was week 1, and as we went on to week 2, we have all of week 1's goals plus a new goal, which was, so we've been sleeping for 7 to 9 hours, drinking water 6 to 8 glasses daily or more, physical activity between 20 to 30 minutes. And your stretching goal has been meeting out here at the center. We are literally getting our stretches in every morning. And then last week, healthy fats. And we will have a new goal this week, which is choosing healthy carbohydrates. All right, so let's look at carbohydrates. Wow, I hope that's not on our Christmas. Look at all of those sweets, and it's Thanksgiving out in Canada today. And folks are always celebrating. Now, these are examples of unhealthy carbohydrates. Could we do it better? Yes, we can. So when you think about unhealthy carbohydrates, you're literally looking at that is an essential part of our diet, okay? It's not like we're talking about running away. There are some diets on low carbs or no carbs, and that's not what we are prescribing here. We want to have carbohydrates, but be very careful with our choice. You know, when people are correct when they would say no carbs, if this is what they're offering for their carbohydrate intake, that will make you sick. At carbohydrates as a main source of fuel, and here are the unhealthy ones. Soda pop drinks, you know, you get carbohydrates from that. Sweetened drinks, candies, sweets, white bread, pancakes, biscuits, you know, all of these pastries, rolls, white rice, and we sweetened and refined grain, breakfast refined breakfast. So the table could be loaded with stuff, but when you look, you're not seeing fiber in there, are you? To make it a complex carbohydrate. So that's what we want. If I look at pastries, cakes, cookies, the snack foods, French fries, and they're all highly refined, and they are high in calories and low in nutrients, including fiber. Last week, there was a question in the chat about how can I lower my calorie consumption in order to lose weight. And so you would see here that when you're talking about fats, which was last week, but even these refined carbohydrates are higher in calorie content. You also have the animal foods, and their byproducts are higher in calorie content as opposed to natural whole foods. Thank God we have healthy carbohydrates because he has made it a major constituent of our diet. And he has provided everything that we need in order to be healthy. And therefore, he has given us our whole grains, legumes, nuts, your seeds. All of these are made available. And he's blessed us with them in abundance. There's so many varieties. When you go to the market, you just look. Food. When you go to your local market, do you see these things? No. If you do, maybe one stall might have it where somebody has made that. But when you go to the market, you see a lot of food and different, you know, it's variety of fruits and vegetables, your grains, your legumes, your seeds and nuts, and all of those things are available in abundance. So they are there, and that's the food that God wants us to have. That's the carbohydrate that you need. That will not cause your calorie content to be elevated. That would not cause you to put on weight. Because a lot of times folks would say no carbs, and they're using fats as a form of fuel. for their body. So, or protein. So they're eating meat and they're eating a lot of oils, putting a lot of oils in their diet. That's going to make you sick. I always see it that if folks don't stay on that diet for very long because it will make them sick. They feel unwell. They go to the doctor for a checkup and they get some lab work done and their cholesterol level is high. It leads to obesity in the long run. I mean, they may get slim, they may lose their weight, but diabetes, yeah, the number is the glucose level is high and they have to stop. And they tell me I was doing it, no carbs, but I had to stop because of health issues. Inflammation in the body, pain in the joints. I've seen it, folks. So we don't want to go on no carbs. Don't go there. Let's not be to the extreme. Let's do it God's way. He said that the grains, the fruits, the nuts, the vegetables, the legumes, these are the foods that I want you to eat. And if we were to have them in a balanced way, we will be healthy. Well, let's look at fruits and vegetables. So fruits and vegetables, they have the healthy carbs that we talked about. They are low in calorie content and they are high in fiber and you have antioxidants in them and different types of nutrients, vitamins, minerals, and rich in phytochemicals to help to fight and build your immune system. What do? They lower your blood pressure. They reduce the risk of stroke, reduce the risk of cancer and heart disease, and you have less disease and they tend to live longer. So here you have the benefits by being on a plant diet and using your fruits and your vegetables, better health outcome. Now, here's an interesting table. Minimally processed and ultra-processed grouping. So minimally processed, like, you know, you can have these items, you cook them. So they're not raw, so you had to add heat to it. So it required some handling. You have the apple, which is really raw. So it's like no process to minimum process when you prepare these foods. Good. What about processed items? Here we have the potato that's baked, the juice instead of the carrot being eaten like that, just cooked. You have carrot juice, so you juice it, the fiber. Let's look for the fiber here. When you juice the carrot, the fiber goes all out one way, and then you just have the juice liquid itself. Look at the refined flour, as opposed to eating the whole grain. And applesauce, as opposed to eating the apple. So the amount of apples need to make this applesauce, and then what, you know, it's all pulpy, yes, but you start losing nutrients from the time it's exposed to air, it's processed, it's packaged. It has to have preservatives in them. Similarly, the canned corn, instead of the corn being whole and corn on the cob is what you need to look for, as opposed to the canned corn. These are really like emergency food, you know, with a hurricane and the storms and you can't go out to get fresh produce. All right, you have emergency food, but it's not to be a sustainable diet for us. There's some minimal of preservation. Then you have ultra processed. Well, what is this? A corn chip? It has some corn in here, plus a whole lot of other stuff to make it puffy, crispy, oil it's prepared in. What about the French fries? Yes, you cut up the potato, but it is fried in oil. So it's really processed here. Carrot could be a good option, but look at the sugar. And then the cookies too, it's made flour. So it's not like this. You did the oats and you simply blended the oats, worked it up with some sweet raisins and cranberries and that sort of things, and prunes, cut up dates, whatever, and then you made a nice little cookie and you bake that, then that would be more whole for you, as opposed to something, the jelly beans and that sort of thing. No, that's really ultra processed. So it might be an apple jelly bean, but it is, look at the apple. This is what we want to eat. Don't think about this, because there's no fiber in. So the refined grains, you have some examples like bleached flour, unbleached flour, bolted corn, degerminated cornmeal, farina or oat flour. All of these are of examples of refined grains. What happens when individuals, it's that you have more obesity, more diabetes, more heart disease, more bowel cancer, fiber to move the food along. That is gone. Now, what about carbs and sugar, glucose levels? We find that carbohydrates are converted to glucose. And for high glucose, these refined grains, and individuals who would test their blood sugar, for example, someone who may be diabetic, will be seeing this on a regular basis, high glucose levels. If you're not testing, it doesn't mean to say it's not happening to you, you just don't know. So the simple carbs, they are absorbed want to have those sugar spikes. You don't those high insulin levels, a high glucose level run in your blood through the consumption of a simple carbohydrate. You need to produce more insulin. So the body will respond, produce a lot of insulin to dilute the concentration of the glucose in the blood by putting some of that sugar into storage in your liver cells, in your muscle cells. So we want to watch those refined products, grains, flour, and simple carbohydrates, the soft drinks, sweet drinks, and so forth, because that will pose a problem. When you have these glucose spikes in your system, in your body, it increases your risk for obesity. The glucose is going to just find the fat cells and pack it in there, store the glucose in the fat cells. You will increase your risk for diabetes type 2. You will increase your risk for coronary heart disease. So by reducing our simple carbs, going for more complex carbohydrates will be the key. Interestingly, here is a chart for looking at the glycemic index in food, because that's another factor that we need to watch. There are certain foods that that has these natural sugars in them, and that's okay. But especially if you have a problem like obesity or diabetes, we need to watch what we're eating, because the glucose level is going to go up. So for someone who's a diabetic, better with sweet potato. Yeah, even though it's sweet, but the fiber structures in that is better than an Irish potato, for example, the plain white ones. Those will send your sugar levels up. So let's have a look. A wheat roti having a glycemic index of 62. All right, chapati, this is a sort of flat bread, 52 plus or minus 4, corn tortilla of 46. So glycemic index lower. You want to try to have glycemic index under 70. White rice, boiled white rice, 73 and plus or minus 4. Brown rice, 68. So the brown rice has a lower glycemic index than the white rice, plus the brown rice has fiber in it that will not cause the rise in the glucose in your blood because of the fiber. It's like the sugar bonds are encapsulated in the fiber, and that will take a while for the body to recognize and break down, as opposed to the barley. When it has a glycemic index of 28. So barley is like for the diabetics to use. Sweet corn, spaghetti white 49, spaghetti wholemeal 48. So that might be like a whole grain spaghetti. Rice noodles 53. You can look for these on your supermarket shelves. Rice noodles as opposed to just the white wheat noodles. Okay. Udon noodles, couscous 65, mango 51, watermelon 76. Yes, watermelon can be sweet and we love to have them sweet. However, can spike your sugar levels high. And I see that here at the center. If folks had watermelon for their meal and you were to test their sugar levels sometime afterward, it's going to show higher than usual. And I would say, okay, it's the watermelon that you had, and we would move on. But watermelon, as opposed to food that doesn't have a high glycemic index. Dates, 42. Imagine dates quite sweet, but because of the fiber in a date. Have you ever tried tearing apart a date? It's pretty tough and fibrous. Okay, so but peaches, 43. Strawberries, 49. Apple juice, 41. Orange juice, 50. Sweet potato, 63. Pumpkin at 64. Plantain or green banana at 55. Taro, this would be like dasheen at 53, and vegetable soup at 48 glycemic index. And then if we look at the dairy, they've laid it out here. Dairy milk, pretty low, like in the 30s. Ice cream, 51. I'm sure there may be ice creams that are higher in glycemic index if it's really sweet. Yogurt fruit, 41. Soy milk, rice milk. Most times rice milk are probably prepared from white rice. And it's juice blended, to take down that fiber, if it had it in the first place. Chickpea, it's pretty low, 28 plus or minus 9. Kidney beans, 24. Lentils, 32. Soybeans, 16. Wow, so soybean, and if you had tofu, that's going to be even on a low glycemic index. Chocolate, 41. Popcorn, soft drink, rice crackers, 86. So the white rice seems to in glycemic index. All right, so all of these, honey, 61. So this is here of when we're talking about carbohydrates coming from different sources and even from certain foods, you converted to sugar, and therefore that's why we're looking at how high the sugar content is in these numbers with a couple of the foods that you may be consuming. So at the end of the day, you want to have those glycemic for your food content. Some rice milk with some oats and you put some dates in there. For each of those items, it's going to have a sugar level, a glycemic index level. And when you add all of that up for that particular meal, and then for all your meals at the end of the day, you are looking to have a value that is within a good range to be healthy. It's been found that women with a glycemic load of 50 or more, 150 or more per day had significantly higher rates of heart disease by 50 or 100% higher than women with a low glycemic index, where they had less than 150 glycemic load per day. So it's like looking at these numbers. Okay, if I did some rice milk, if I did some popcorn, if I had some dates or watermelon with barley, and then I came and I had some chickpeas, let's add all of that up, for each meal, whatever it might be. And those who consume refined carbohydrate foods or foods, even raw fresh food that had a higher glycemic index, you found that those individuals were at a higher risk for heart disease. Men showed similar results. So the lower the glycemic load of a meal, we can lower that by choosing low glycemic and eating smaller portions of a high glycemic food or both. So by now your head may be kind of like, how would I remember all of these things? And do I even know what my glycemic index would be for my food? Well, I want to say, let's not worry about that too much. Let me just quickly show you the key. And here, for example, we have the drawing, an anatomy of a grain. And this grain could be from your rice, your wheat, your barley, your millet, your oats, and so forth. This is like an example of a grain. And what would you have? Fiber, the bran. You have the endosperm, and you have the germ. It could be a corn. The fiber or the hull or the husk of the grain, that's on the surface of it. And then you have the inner portion, the endosperm. A rice that doesn't have the fiber on it. It's like a white rice, okay? So your white rice would not have the fiber on it. It will not have the germ. Have your white rice. Rice will, I would tell you, go to the kitchen and take up a grain of white rice and watch it. The shape of it goes like an oval, and there is a little indent of it, an indent was. They sell this as wheat germ, and they sell the fiber as bran, and then people will take that and add it back to their food. Cereal, I'm adding oat bran to my cereal or to my bread when I'm making it. That's what is done. They have stripped the fiber out and made the food into a refined item, and for that in the world. So what do you miss? The nutrients that comes with that. So whole grains, you have a range of B vitamins, niacin, folates. That is healthy for you. A lot of folks have even obesity and they're not eating rice. They say, I'm not eating rice. I'd say, well, you need to eat the whole grain rice, not the white one, but the whole grain one, where you can get your range of B vitamins. As a matter of fact, when it comes to the recommendation, I would say get a B complex to help with your situation. But here, in your whole grain, you would be able to get a range of vitamins. It helps with even nervous system disorders. So when folks have, poor circulation, poor nerve conductivity, and all things in their body, we're lacking nutrients. It halts degenerative cellular process. Having your whole grain, your brown rice, can help to reduce cancers or cardiac disease. As the glucose levels in our diabetics, because it will raise the blood sugar, but and that's what you want. You don't want to have the sugar shooting up high when you have the refined grain item. It prevents constipation. A tremendous amount of fiber now that's into your system, in your bowel. Cancer? No, because you're getting proper movement with your colon. Examples: rice, millet, oat, corn, barley, spelt. These are examples of different types of grain. Okay, so folks, remember, if you do have a question, you can simply write your question in the chat or raise your hand and we'd be happy to take your question. Now, one of the good things is that we just looked at the anatomy of the grain and that it has fiber in it. So excellent. Your nuts, your seeds will have the same thing. They'll have their little thin skin on it. It's fiber. It's healthy. Your legumes has fiber in it. It's healthy, preventing constipation, doing every good thing. You know, reducing the incidence of your diabetes or even the sugar spikes. Fiber is important. And I want you to pause a moment and think about your meal that you had today and whether you had enough fiber in your meal. Did you have more refined items on your plate? Or did you have more fiber on your plate? So we don't need to remember all the glycemic index values. I don't even think about it because there is enough fiber on the plate. So women who ate, and women should eat 25 grams of fiber and men should eat 38 grams of fiber daily. Fiber is not digested. So even fiber quantities ascribed to them per cup, how many grams you would find within an item. Say, for example, one medium apple could have 3.3 of fiber in it. So there's another chart, but we wouldn't look at that. Okay, so glycemic load. How much carbs should you eat to keep in the recommended range? Well, let's look at the study, and what we're looking at here. Okay, looking at is the 150. So individuals who had 150 or more, it's right here in this statement, had a significant higher rate of heart disease, etc., than those who had less than 150. So here's what we're looking at for our guide through the studies and the outcomes of individuals. But again, if you had sufficient fiber in your diet, you don't need to even try to recall some of those numbers, because the chart that we viewed just had a limited amount of foods. There are a whole lot more foods that are available. And we want eating to be healthy. We also want it to be fun. And you don't have to be counting these things, but it's good to stop and take stock, because if it is that you're not, that you're having more refined items and less complex carbohydrates, then you will run into problems. Yeah, so yeah, that's what I'm counting daily carb intake. You will need to get a more complete chart, and there are quite a number of charts online that will help you to be able to you have the Harvard studies. You also have the, let's see, you have the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition. Yeah, they will have charts and listings. If it is that you would like to do that, simply look up and get a pretty thorough chart that will give you a wide range of foods. And in so doing, you would be able to get an idea, but do not spend your day and night and every day counting your carbs. That's not going to get you anywhere. And it really would put a burden on your eating, and you would not feel free to eat. However, I would say just focus on having more natural, raw, or more whole foods, and as opposed to processed or refined foods, and you would be okay. So note, fiber is not digested. So we're looking at fiber here, and for men and women, they would do great, but fiber is not digested. Fiber of 25 to 38 grams per day can reduce the risk of what? Diverticulosis, which is hugely linked and connected to poor fiber consumption. Now think about this. Of prevention, if folks are eating a lot of refined foods and less fiber foods, they get diverticulosis, which are like little pockets in their colon because they don't have proper bowel movement. They're constipated, and they'll be sitting on the toilet and going, oh, trying. And then you create all these little, be a problem for you, and it can be inflamed. So you want to calm that. You want to prevent that. So eat the fiber up front, because if you wait now and you get this situation, and all of those things, you want to have more fiber in your food so that you're not constipated and you have good bowel movement. Plus drink water, okay? With all the fiber that you're going to be having, you need to drink a lot of water to bulk up that fiber, because too much fiber and low water intake can also cause constipation issue. You're just sitting there. It's not getting anything to bulk it up and move along. So diabetes, it reduces your risk of diabetes, reduces your risk of colon cancer. Right now, we have a higher incidence of colon cancer, and there's screening, a lot more screening done for it, because they're seeing a greater incidence of it. It has been changing over the past 50 years, and the diseases that we have now are more prominent amongst a great number of people, as opposed to just a selected few. So let's make sure we're eating fiber. Fiber can also help to reduce cholesterol from your body, because it will your excess cholesterol will go out with your stool. That you're gonna have 2 times, at least 2 or 3 times a day, depending on how many meals you're having. And then women who ate most fiber from whole grains had a 35% less heart disease risk than those who had a low fiber intake. And women eating more fiber from whole grains plus the fruit had a 36% less they were 36% less likely to develop diabetes than women who ate very little fiber. So can benefit such a great deal. Similarly, our men can benefit a great deal when you have fiber foods over your refined foods. 129 told us this so many years and ancients of time ago. It says, and God said, hey, what did God say to you? I've given you every herb bearing seed that is upon the face of the earth. No matter where you go on earth, you're going to find food. And every tree in which is the fruit of a tree yielding seed, to you it shall be for your food. He has given us that. He hasn't said something in a can. You know, you look for certain products, processed foods, here in your country, and you go to another country, you very well may not find it, because they may not have imported it. Okay, so it may not be there. But you can rice anywhere in the world, brown rice, whole grains. You can certainly find some form of legume anywhere in the world. You can certainly find some fruit, some nut, some seed. And that's what God will have you to eat. Okay, so anywhere in the world, you can find food. Fiber, let this be in your mind. Fiber is found only in plant-based foods, such as your whole grains, bran, legumes, fresh fruit, vegetables. What do not contain any fiber? Your meat, the chicken, the fish, dairy products, the sugar, the margarine, the oil, they contain no fiber, none. So if your diet is made up of having the flour, the refined flour that you mix up some eggs and dairy and all kind of thing, and you make a dish, and you're eating that with some fish or chicken or meat on the side, you don't have fiber. Look at this plate, a huge piece of steak, and the decoration on the side, yeah, that's decor. You know, folks aren't even going to be eating this. Or even if they do, it's very little compared to what they're having. No fiber in here. All those lines are little streaks of fat. No fiber in this. No fiber in your dairy milk. None. You know, you're not getting anything there. So, but in the food that God has provided for you as your food, you can find all the fiber there. So here is our list of goals and what you can do this week. Eat 3 or more servings of 100% whole grains daily. You want to be able, and you're using the palm of your hand to estimate a serving size. You want to be able to say it's whole grain, whole food. It's fruit as opposed to a canned fruit or a packaged fruit. It's fresh fruit. It's vegetables. It's my nuts, my seeds, my legumes. I'm eating all of this. Look at your whole grain. Your wheat bread, the oats, the millet, brown rice, quinoa, pearl, barley, lentils, peas. 5 to 7 servings of apple. Take 2. Don't just take 1 banana. Take 2 or 3. Eat that, you know, every time. When you lay out your dish, if you eat the raw food, and then you come and you eat your carbohydrates, your proteins, your fruit and your vegetable, you eat your nuts and your seed, you're going to have a meal and you're going to feel full for longer because of the fiber. Anytime I go anywhere, if I eat white rice, I'm hungry in no time. But when I eat a brown rice with the fiber in it, I'm full for long. So that's what you want. Then limit your high glycemic foods and snack foods, which all found in the refined items. All right, the bread, white flour, refined breakfast cereals like your cornflakes and the puffed rice and all of those things, sugar beverages, French fries, potato chips, corn chips, all of these are high in the glycemic index. Water, use water instead of the sweet drinks, and you'd be fine. So we showed you the week, and we were looking through having your fruits and your vegetables, the raw here, then half of your plate with your cooked up veggies, and then your carbohydrates. So today we're talking about the carbs. Even you can get carbohydrates from your root items, your tubers, your yam, your dasheen or taro, your cassava, sweet potato. Folks, watch it. It can be converted into glucose in your body. And you don't want to have too great number of those because that glucose will still increase your obesity and your diabetes. So we want to make sure that our choice of carbohydrate, it's really a lot of times I see, especially in Caribbean islands, where individuals are using a lot of ground provision of key, but you're not meal after meal after meal, it provisions, root items. So we want to have the balance with the greens. In addition, the greens will give you different nutrients than the ground provisions would. And then quarter of your plate with the protein coming from a plant-based source, and ending your meal even the coconut. That's the really nice fresh coconut that you can have. And then items of different kinds of things that you can have on your. Okay, so question, what are tubers are like the root items like these, and those in you know, the growing under the ground, these sweet potatoes, all of. Yep. Had some nice plantain this with quinoa mixed into that quinoa and some lentils. Yep, that's what we had this morning, and some fruit and nuts at the end. Not this particular picture, but just remembered what our breakfast meal was like. So as we look at those examples, let's what is our recipe for the day? So our recipe for today is this. Doesn't that look really pretty? All right. Okay, question, breadfruit, is it a tuber? No, no, the tubers would be that which grows under the ground. Yeah, is breadfruit. Okay. This was yesterday. So you see a nice lettuce and so forth. It was a simple meal. It was meant to be a light meal because we fasted today. And so you can have lots of this. And then this was like a rice spaghetti. And we had falafel balls and red beetroot sauce. Yep. And so it's really brilliant red. Now, the ingredients are here. 2 cups of cooked garbanzo beans. And then you have 2 tablespoons of water. You keep adding very little water as needed. 3 tablespoons of sesame seeds that's toasted. Then you have 1/4 cup of onions, 2 tablespoons of finely chopped parsley, 1 teaspoon of salt, 3/4 teaspoon of cumin, 1/4 teaspoon of coriander seeds, 1 clove of garlic, and 1 cup of breadcrumbs that you can add to that. And that's optional. You don't need it. You don't need to. And you can make your ball. So instead of breadcrumbs, you can even do rice flour or the same chickpea flour. Some places you find it, which is really ground chickpea that you can add in here. And so you just have to blend your garbanzo beans in some water, stir in like in a food processor, break it down, and then you add your seasonings to taste, and you start to pull it together to make it into a ball. Even oats. Some oats can be really good here to add to sort of help to glue and gel and pull the ingredients together, and you form the balls, and then we just bake them. And once they're baked, we made a sauce, and this is the recipe for the sauce: beets, onion, garlic, water, bay leaf for flavor. That's just going to be stirred in there, and then you take the bay leaf off, lemon juice, basil flakes, and the sea salt, and it's quite delicious, that you can eat it up. It was filling too, you know, and then you have your nuts and your seeds at the end. Right, so here you got to go forward this week and to make some healthy recipe that you could enjoy. Okay, all right, good. So that brings us to the end of our session, attending and being such a great audience. Do you have any questions for us at this time? All right, so if not, we will post out in the chat the goals for the week. Just want to let you know, for those, please contact us. We are on right now our 7-day detox program. The folks are really enjoying it already. And we have another week of it starting next week. And then we have our residential program that continues in the coming months ahead. So do connect with us. You can reach us at our number 724-4898 or 367-3165, or go to our website, or just stay tuned to our WhatsApp group. So as usual, we'll post information in the WhatsApp group for the goals of your coming week, and be able to share, you know, if you're having any challenges, or even just being successful in reaching your goals of choosing healthier carbohydrates. Today, I chose healthy carbs and I had more fiber in the plate. We'll be so happy to rejoice with you. All right, so don't be shy. Please share your experience in the chat. Well, we will like to end with a word of prayer. Okay, so what group does Bradford go in? Bradford would go in the carbohydrate section, if that's what you're thinking, where it would fit. Yeah, Bradford would fit in the carbs. Yeah, Bradford would fit in the carbohydrate section, not necessarily as a fresh food. It's part of the Moraceae family, and yeah, Bradford is quite nice. It's family to jackfruit, and it will go along with a fruit meal. Okay, so all of those would be considerations. Okay, so let's have a word of prayer. Heavenly Father, we want to give you thanks for the information and the message that you were able to share with us today. We pray that you will provide more food and opportunities for us to choose healthier carbohydrates. We thank you that you have given us so many options to choose from. And we pray that we would not just keep this information to ourselves, but that as we experience better health, we'll share it with others. This is our prayer in Jesus' name. Amen. Okay, so thank you, everyone, and have a blessed evening.